don't support the default position that the IHP would have taken us to 2.5 metres, but nor do I support, Mr Mayor, this whole 50% of permeable of the 1.8. Most of our operative plans, I understand from John's previous briefings, take us in and around a solid fence of 1.8, and I would like the solid fence of 1.8 to be retained. I think it's an important feature as far as mitigating intensification. I think front yards for many people that have got subdivisions and intensification, and increasingly so on their backyards, are increasingly important. So for me, I support I won't be supporting this, as I support the status quo, and I also see it, Mr Chair, as another cost on housing. If you're having to go for a resource consent, a restricted discretionary resource consent, just to build what everyone else on the road has as of right, that is another cost. And if you're having to tell your builder or your fence contractor to come up with some design that complies to the new council's regulations around 50% and the likes, I suspect rather than just a simple solid fence, having to build in your permeable percentages will also cost will cost new developments that will have to comply to this new fencing requirement. So for me, I'll be voting against it. I support the status quo. I think it works well, and I think it's increasingly important that people have privacy and can mitigate against the negative effects of intensification, and effectively that new developments don't have lesser rights than existing housing on that street.
Right, thank you. Councillor Sharon.
Well, I actually understand what you were talking about, the Flatbush, Te-Rangi Drive. Yeah. It's just a sea of fence, and the only thing that it's good for at the moment is for election signs. But I do know at the far end of the Te-Rangi Drive, we did, Manukau Council did actually, we had the swimming pool type fence that you could have a bit of planting, and it looked a little bit, because for a number of reasons. It's not just the blanket look of it, it's also for the graffiti and the tagging, and so.
Okay, actually, it's a very good reason to support the reject, actually. Sorry, guys. I mean, there's some spectacular hoardings out there, I have to say. All right, Councillor Arthur.
Yep. Thank you, Worship. Just some caution here, because when you come to the individual houses and what the panel has recommended, it is up to, being the key words, 2.5. So the choice is still there of keeping it low. But my concern is when you've got a large apartment block or a gated community, and just like in America when they have those, they have high security fences onto the main road with a gate in. And I think it's essential that you do have that type of protection allowance for that type of development. So I think we've got to look at seriously which way we're going with this, or whether we dissect out those different developments and have it one for them and one for the other, or stick to one which gives you a max of up to 2.5 and giving you the freedom to go which way you want to. Thank you.
John, do you want to add some comment there just before we put this to the vote? Really didn't see that as being too much of an issue, but you got any thoughts on that? I think it's quite a useful point.
Apologies, Mr Mayor, we were just getting the alternative solution ready to formally table if this is the way the governing body is going. So I'm wondering if Councillor and I could briefly ask that question
Sure.
again.
No, just about the impact on apartments who would want higher walls.
Yeah, on apartment blocks and gated communities, as I've noticed in America, on the main roads they have high fence of 2.5, and that's for security reasons. I can understand that there's lower ones for the individual houses, etc. So all I'm just saying, maybe we should consider what the panel has said, because they're saying up to 2.5, so it gives you that freedom to go either way. But I think you've got to add in that security for those gated communities.
Mr Mayor, I think the key answer there is that any apartment building under the rules put forward by Well, endorsed by the council to date would require resource consent for any new apartment building, and in that case, if there was a strong argument for having a higher fence, the applicant, as part of their resource consent for the apartment building, could put forward a higher fence and argue that as part of the case. So it wouldn't be putting in place an additional burden as part of a new development proposal.
So they
Okay.
can.
There you go. Right, councillors, I want to put the proposal for rejection. I'll put that. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against?
No.
No.
No,
Record it, please.
record those. Thank you very much. Right, now we're going to go to Okura.
Wash up, yeah.
Oh, sorry, we need to put the wrap up. So that's 059. Councillor
to second.
Christie, Councillor Chris F. Seconds. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against?
The Waitakere Rangers.
No, we're going to Akura.
Going to Akura.
So that we can do it before
Right,
lunch.
okay, well, that table. Thank you very much. Right. Are we ready for Okura?
What about 6.131?
Yeah, no, we actually, we're going to, we've got a little bit more
back to
work
that.
to do around transport and parking stuff. And we have got basically two report back items left, Okura and the transport one. Is that the one you're looking at?
There's also the Waitakere...
Oh, Waitakere Rangers, yeah. So we're going to do both those two
Transpower?
after lunch. All right?
Got Transpower as well?
Yes, we've got transfer.
Are you ready for that? Transfer? Oh, we can do that after Okura.
Okura now.
Yep, Okura now.
Excuse me, do we have a hard copy of what we're going to be?
No, because we're working pretty quickly, Councillor Walker, so this is, I'll take you through the presentation. Ignore the recommendations you've been given on your sheet, because they're the wrong reasons if you choose to reject the panel situation. Don't quite know how they got there, but they're not the right ones, and we will have the right ones up on the board if that's where you get to in this discussion.
It would be happy to, I would like to have a hard copy if I can.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get there, but I think the most important
waste
thing
some
is
more
just
money on
read
paper.
what's on
You
the
think we spend enough money on killing trees?
order. Just read what's on the screen.
What is the topic number?
What is the topic number for the AHP?
So
Again, can you remind us?
Akura was to do with the rural urban boundary shift 016-017 in the north. So it was 614.1. So if you remember last week, you asked officers to go away and to bring back further information in the event that you decide to reject the recommendation of the panel. So I've just got a few slides to remind everybody the situation, and then we do have an alternative recommendation if the governing body is of mind to reject the recommendation of the panel. So just briefly, Okura Holdings Limited sought the amendments to the rural urban boundary to include land that they own adjoining the Long Bay Regional Park to be within the rural urban boundary and to apply some live zones to around 150 hectares. The council, the Long Bay Okura Great Park Society and the Okura Environmental Group did not at the hearing support a shift in the rural urban boundary nor the application of urban zonings to those 150 hectares. And it would be fair to say that in terms of the hearing on Okura, there was a significant amount of evidence from submitters, both for and against, and from the council in front of the panel to help them make their recommendation on this matter. And so in the panel's recommendation report, what they are recommending is that they preferred to agree with the evidence put forward by the Okura Holdings Limited, and that they are recommending that the rural urban boundary be shifted to include the 150 hectares of land plus a smaller 20 hectares of land that are not owned by Okura Holdings Limited, and also applying some live urban zonings to 75 hectares of that 150, and also 55 hectares of open space zoning be applied to land that's
sort of along the peninsula joining the coastal area. Next slide, please. So as those of you who have read the panel's reports, they indicated that the zoning of this was a key issue of contention. As I've talked about, there was a lot of evidence presented at the hearing, and they also indicated that they were aware of earlier Environment Court decisions in relation to Okura and Long Bay area. And just a note on that, in their overview report, the panel make a general comment that there have been various matters raised in the hearings process where Environment Court decisions had been made previously on a particular site or on a particular provision, and while they had regard to those decisions, they weren't necessarily always the way forward that they saw for those areas of land. One of the key issues of contention was around sedimentation and contamination. Expert conferencing took place during the hearings, and a range of views were presented to the panel from the experts. It would be fair to say that at the expert conferencing, the main area of disagreement between all of the experts was the effects of contaminants resulting from urbanisation on that land. The impact on the Long Bay Okura Marine Reserve was not agreed on at expert conferencing. And just really after the careful consideration of all the evidence, they have recommended that shift in the rural-urban boundary and the rezoning of land at Okura. And the reason that they've given, the primary reason that the panel gave, was that Okura Land Holdings Limited had actually undertaken structure planning, and they felt that the evidence supported a comprehensive and consistent development, which was and aligned with their recommended view of the regional policy statement. So that's just really the background. As this governing body indicated last week, you asked us to come back with reasons that you might use if you wish to reject the recommendation of the panel, and we'll get those put up now. Sandra, please. Okay, so these, as I've said, please do not refer to the written ones that you've got in the set of recommendations you've received today. They're incorrect. These, if you so choose to reject the recommendations of the panel in relation to the rural-urban boundary, then there's a series of consequential recommendations you'll have to make. So we'll just, those are the reasons why you might give, but then you would also need to reject the zoning of the land to a live urban zoning, and also you would also have to look at consequential amendments to countryside living, because that was the zoning that used to apply to the land. We'd have to go back and fix the countryside living subdivision table, because that's now been excluded, and there will be some other issues that we'd need to pick up as consequential, which are all listed in these recommendations. But just so you're aware, that's why they're all there, because there's a knock-on effect if you reject the shift of the RUB and the urban zoning.
Right, can you just take that up screen? Oh, well, yeah, oh. Right, just keep going. Up, up. Oh.
So this ends up in the Environment Court.
Okay.
Pretty disastrous.
Right. Now, councillors, considering we had a very, very good debate the other day, I don't want any repetition in this debate. Right? I'll regard this as being a follow-on from the last debate. And I certainly don't want a rehashing of what went in front of the IHP. So what I would like, I guess the two local councillors will move and rather won't, I need someone who will actually move the staff's recommendation. Hang on, just listen to what I'm saying. I need someone to move the overarching recommendation. That has to fail.
Okay.
All right,
don't
if
wanna
that
move
fails, then we will put the alternative. All right, so now I need someone to move.
That's not me.
No, that's most definitely not you, councillor Wayne. Will someone move?
Move that, Mr.
You'll move that, Bill. Councillor Bill.
I'll
Is there a
second
second? Councillor Penny will second that. Okay, right. So you are seconding,
One with
hang on, no,
reject.
this is not right.
I hope you get it right.
No,
'cause I don't
that's
want
right.
this
You
This
need,
next one up.
they are moving and seconding the council's recommendation to reject. Sorry, the staff's recommendation to reject.
So just to remind everybody what this recommendation is, it's
This
not.
is the one behind.
This is the original staff recommendation, and this staff recommendation was to accept the shift of the rub and the live zoning. The only thing that staff were recommending was the rejection of the fact that in the hearings panel provisions for the precinct, there was no mechanism for the provision of transport infrastructure.